here in Cardiff, mate. You've been here a few times. What's it like to be back in Cardiff?
Yeah, good. It was good to be here for spring tour. It's a good place to sort of wander around and see the city, and obviously a good stadium as well. Probably one of my favourite stadiums to play at. Good crowd and strong team. So yeah.
You played here a couple of times. Do you have what are your memories of playing against Wales in Wales?
Yeah, tough team. Loud crowd as well, with a good team as well, good set piece team, and a team that's sort of quite physical and and cold. It's very cold here, so yeah.
The 22 game, I think it was a pretty memorable one. I know you weren't there for it, but I'm sure you're watching on at home. Was it a game you have a memory of as a spectator from home?
Yeah, it was a tough tour, that one. I think there was only about 25 boys left in that last week to train. A lot of boys copped the knock against Ireland, and a few weeks before that as well. So I think for the team to come away with that win as well at the end, especially a comeback as well, and it was awesome to watch from home. I was proud of the boys, and I knew how hard they had to work that week to come away with a win.
Probably feels like it's come quickly, but selected this week, you played 50th. Is that something that sort of registers that you've hit that milestone relatively quickly in your career?
Yeah, probably not really. It's a lot of games to play at this level, and I've always dreamt of just playing one game. So if I was to notch up 50, it would be a great milestone, and something that I would be proud of, and especially my family would be proud of, and because I know there's a lot of hard work that goes unseen behind as well. So if I am able to notch up 50 this week, I'll put my body on the line for the boys, and I'll try to play my best.
I think you've only missed maybe 2 games sort of since your debut, but I know there was the World Cup in 2019 in the middle there, but since sort of your second to your potential 50th, you've only missed a couple of games. What do you think the longevity is in that? Because you obviously play a position that's quite physical and has a bit of attrition in it.
Yeah. Obviously, just things outside of rugby, just I guess recovery, and I think probably my thing is just getting away from rugby whenever you can, and I think in towns like this where you sort of don't really visit, it's about getting out and sort of getting away from rugby and refreshing a lot, because I think if you're too much on rugby, you can get a lot. Also just having people behind the scenes like our physios, our doctors, and that help us to sort of get us in and out of training every day, and I think I'll put it down to them, and a lot of senior boys as well. You sort of can pick stuff out of what they do week in, week out to see what works for you. So
Tate, so you guys played Wales in July, a couple of tough games, and they haven't had a win for a while now. The pressure's right on the coach and all of that sort of malarkey. Does that make you wary as a team that there's a kind of a fight back mentality potentially within the Wales camp?
Yes, but in saying that, you're always wary of a Welsh side because on their day what they're going to bring, regardless of how they're going, is an incredibly strong set piece and a good defensive pressure game, and that's 2 things that they brought against us in our Sydney and Melbourne tests earlier on in the year, and they were both incredibly tough test matches for us. There's a couple of late tries in both those games that got us the victories, but what we know is, particularly over here at the Millennium Stadium, Principality, sorry, it's going to be a fierce battle, and we know that as soon as that whistle goes, they're going to be raring to go. They're obviously hurting, and we've done the analysis on the team that they've just announced, and we're looking forward to the challenge ahead.
You guys would be feeling pretty good after a good win, obviously, at the weekend. How much has Joe been speaking to you about, not staying in the clouds too high for, too long, for this week?
Yeah, I think Joe's obviously said it a couple of times, but the group, the senior leaders, but the group in general has a feeling that repeatability is the biggest thing for us to move forward. And we've got to make sure, like we've had a couple of good wins this year. You flash back to Argentina where we knocked them off in the first game. A week later, we're a completely different team. So for us, it's about making sure that everything we do this week, we don't waste any time improving. Because repeatability and also backing up the performance against the English is crucial for us. We know that we conceded far too many points. And quite often in test matches, if you concede 37 points, you don't win the game. But we were skillful and composed enough in the end to get the win against England. But we know that the Welsh are going to be looking at how England scored those points, and we've got to make sure we plug those holes pretty quickly.
Was any work done on, you mentioned the Argentina swing there, any work done on kind of figuring out the why of that week? Like you probably parked it and moved on, but the stuff you can take as far as triggers?
I think it's just an understanding for this group that we've got to learn from our past, really. And we understand that as a team, our success is measured by what we do throughout the week, and how we make sure that, like I said before, we don't waste any time, because every week from now on is another new challenge. It's a fresh page, and last week against the English, essentially, whilst it was a great moment, it's irrelevant because we've got a fierce Welsh team in our face, and we've got to make sure we're ready for them.